Alright, so setting up a domain in your Plesk Control Panel. In the last video we had logged into our Plesk Control Panel for the first time, and that configured your administrator account and got it all set up for your VPS hosting account. So now we've got to start creating domains underneath the account so that we can load up our website, create email addresses, things like that. So in the first video we created our default client, which is just our admin client. And within that client we're going to create our domain names. We can go to clients and you can see your My Domains client. Within this client you're not going to have any limitations as far as resources that you can use, because this is considered your client, so obviously you get to use the whole account. You may want to set up limits so that way you don't overuse your account too much. Bandwidth will be allowed to be doubled, and it'll just be charged extra on your next month statement. Whatever extra you used, you can do that from the limits site here. We'll go over clients and setting up limits on the clients later. For now we're going to click this Add New Domain, and from here we're going to give it a domain name, and for this we'll just do the hardhat-demo.com. We don't have any templates. This is for if you're reselling, hosting, and stuff like that. You can create a template with particular setup pre-configured, like limits or permissions. You do want to leave the www checkmarked. Without it, www won't work for that domain name. So it is important to set that up first. If you want it to point somewhere else, then you could always uncheck it and then let it create it later and point it somewhere else. We want to make sure we're proceeding to hosting setup. It should pull all our contact information here. We hit OK. Now it's going to ask us for what type of hosting we're going to set up: physical, standard forwarding, or frame forwarding. We're going to use physical hosting here. Most of you probably use physical hosting. If you have other ones that you want forwarded to somewhere else, you may want to look into standard and frame. This help button on the side here, anytime you click the help button, it will automatically take you to the user's manual and to the specific portion of the user's manual that deals with the page you're on. So it's a very handy idea to keep in close proximity to this help button in case you ever need it. So we go to physical hosting and hit OK, and we're going to be able to set up what the different defaults we need. So we need SSL support. That's up to you if you need SSL or not. If you are using SSL, depending on how you're using it, you may choose to use a single directory for SSL and non-SSL content. When you log in via FTP, you'll see an HTTP docs folder and an HTTPS docs folder. If this is unchecked, you'll use both directories, one for non-SSL and one for SSL. If you checkmark this, all your files will just go into HTTP docs. So we'll leave this checkmarked. For most cases you'll want it checkmarked, e-commerce such. For the FTP login, we'll give it hard hat. We'll give it an FTP password. If you want to set up a hard disk quota, this is where you would do it here. For now, since it's your just main domain, we'll give it unlimited. If I ever wanted to, I could checkmark that and make sure it limits down to just a certain amount. We can set up shell access if you have an account that needs SSH access for a particular reason. Some people are more comfortable in there. It's normally reserved for advanced users. You hit SSH and it'll give you a warning, highly dangerous. So make sure you know what you're doing if you turn that on. Down here we're going to see where we can turn on certain services. Most of the time you're probably going to need PHP. For some e-commerce and some applications you'll want to turn safe mode off. Xcart needs safe mode off. I believe WordPress needs it off. SSI, server-side includes, probably don't need that. Some people will. Apache ASP support. ASP is actually active server pages used for Windows hosting, and this is kind of a falsetto release of ASP support, so I would not turn that on. I would just get Windows hosting if that's what you really need. CGI and Perl you probably may need depending on what you're running. Again, Python most people won't need. Fast CGI most people won't need. You can turn on your web statistics if you want Webalizer or AW stats. Also you can use custom error documents if you choose. If you want to password protect the directory that your web statistics is in, you'd choose that. We hit OK. We go to the next step. This is where we're probably going to set up your limits. Oh, no, here we are. We're just done at that point. If you wanted to set up limits, you could do so here under limits, and that's where you could set up maximum subdomains, maximum aliases, maximum traffic. That's your bandwidth, all this different stuff, maximum number of email users. If you're giving this account to another client of yours or something like that, you do want to go in here and set these up. You could also set up a template that would automatically have them set up. But from this main screen here underneath your domains, you'll see that you can set up lots of different things. You can turn off the domain, set up your email, set up DNS, set up databases, SSL certificates, subdomains, web users, all this different stuff. If you ever need to change any of those setup things, you would just hit setup right here and it would take you in there. So if we go to domains, we'll see our new domain created, hardhatdemo.com. If we go to clients, we'll see our client, my domains, go into our client, and we'll see the domains that are under that client. Again, hardhat-demo.com. Alright, on to the next setup, which will show you how to, the intricacies of clients. Thank you very much.